So, welcome to another Top Tip Tuesday. And this week we're going to talk about a little tip to help to prevent overeating when cooking meals. And in particular, if you tend to eat your main meal as your evening meal, so you cook up a large dinner for yourself, as many people do. This is particularly important because you obviously do not want to eat a large meal and then go to bed. So it's a very, very common problem that many people have when making food for themselves, or indeed if they're in restaurants they do the same thing when they overorder. But people tend to be very hungry and they order a massive amount of food, and that either leads to huge amounts of food waste, which is obviously not good for the environment, or overeating. So both of those things are things we want to avoid. So one of the best ways that we can help to avoid this is my favourite solution to everything: fruit. So fruit. What we want to do here is, particularly if we imagine, say, we're working at home and we're going to knock off at a certain time and we're going to go and make our dinner. By which time you probably haven't eaten since lunchtime and you're probably very hungry. So if you go out to your kitchen and say you think, oh, I'm going to make myself a pasta dish or something. Well, when it comes to pouring out the amount of pasta you want, you're probably going to massively overestimate the amount that is actually healthy to eat because you are very hungry. So one of the best ways that I found of having to relieve this problem, instead of waiting until you actually go out to make your dinner, if you go out to your kitchen, say half an hour to an hour before, and grab some fruit. Now, the beauty of this is that fruit is incredibly quick to eat. There are so many fruits, raspberries, grapes, whatever, that you can literally just grab a handful of and just eat like that. They don't require any preparation. You've also got things, your apples, bananas, oranges, and so on, all sorts of things that you could eat whilst doing something else. So if you are having one of those days, you can just grab a piece of fruit and you can go back and carry on checking your emails whilst eating a banana or whatever. Now, I know there are some people who claim that they don't like fruit. I do not accept this as an argument. There are so many thousands of varieties of fruit that you cannot possibly say that you do not like some of them. And as I have mentioned before, it is simply the natural diet of human beings. So find some fruit you like. That is a simple solution. And make sure that you have it on hand in your kitchen so that you can just go out and you can grab it, and this doesn't take any time. You can also do the same thing if you are out, if you, travelling back from somewhere and you're going to get in, you're going to make dinner as soon as you get in, because otherwise you're going to be too tired and you're not going to make it at all. Just take some fruit with you. That way, when you get on the train, you can eat it on the journey home. If you get in your car to drive home, you just take 10 minutes to eat some fruit first and then drive home. Now, the reason that this is such a good thing is because fruit obviously is the ultimate healthy snack. It doesn't raise your blood sugar, so unlike other snacks which will tend to cause spikes in blood sugar, which is a very bad thing that we want to avoid, fruit does not, and is extremely nutritious. It's obviously very high in vitamins, various other things depending on what fruit you're eating. Now, the reason this is important is that you have two kinds of receptors in your stomach. You have your stretch receptors, and they literally just detect how full your stomach is and tell you when you have eaten enough. But you also have nutrient receptors, and what they do is, as the name suggests, they detect the quantity of various nutrients that you have eaten. And then, if you are lacking in particular essential nutrients, they try to let you know. Unfortunately, the system isn't very sophisticated, and all it will result in is you feeling hungry. Unfortunately, you don't get a little memo, you need to eat more vitamin C today. And that is one of the reasons why if you eat, an entire pack of donuts, you will still feel hungry shortly afterwards. Temporarily it will fill you up because your stretch receptors will say, oh my god, my stomach is bulging, don't put anything else in me. But then your nutrient receptors will kick in saying, nope, didn't get anything out of that, I still need feeding. And so you will keep eating more and more and more. Unfortunately, when you get very hungry, particularly if you tend to have quite a high sugar diet, that you're now looking to reduce, what you will find, of course, is that when you are hungry, you end up craving sugar, essentially, because especially the more hungry you get, your body goes onto its default position of please feed me calories fast. The more sugary it is, the quicker those calories are going to get into you, so that's all it wants. It doesn't really. It's actually crying out for various nutrients, but unfortunately that translates as you wanting sugar. So if you wait until the last minute, like, oh, you're really starving, hungry, right now, quick, I'm going to go out and make some dinner, are you going to think, oh, well, I'll have a lovely healthy salad? And of course you're not. That's when you're going to up in the bag of pasta into the saucepan because you're really hungry and you just want some carbohydrates. So we can avoid that by, as I say, an hour or so before you go out to make dinner or you get home or whatever, just eat some fruit. And you can have 3, 4, 5 pieces of fruit. It doesn't really matter. But just a decent amount of fruit. If you've got time, obviously, you can make a nice fruit salad, put some yogurt in it or whatever, but it doesn't matter if you don't. That's the key thing. You can just grab some fruit. Because that way, not only have you eaten something, but because it was something that was very high in vitamins, various nutrients, your body is getting what it needs. And as a result, it's going to make you feel much less hungry when you then go out to make your dinner. It's not going to fill you up entirely because it's only a small amount of fruit. But when you go to then make dinner, you can then put a sensible amount of pasta in the saucepan if you want to make a pasta dish because you're not feeling ravenous and your body's not saying, please give me sugar. Because, of course, fruit is high in sugar, but it's a healthy form of sugar. So that is my top tip for this week. Eat some fruit an hour before you go to cook your dinner. So join me next week for your next top tip.